Time is money. Come on, people.
Hello, everybody. My name is Octavian, and I would like you all to settle in for another episode of Price Check. I've got my stash tab full of unidentified rare gear here. I've got plenty of wisdom scrolls to go through them with, and I've got a hankering to find something good. So let's get started. For those of you who are unfamiliar with the series and perhaps joining us on this episode, first off, hi. How are you? I hope you're good. I hope you're well. Second, let me go over the rules. Let me go how this works. I'm going to be grabbing this stash tab full of gear here. We're going to be bringing it to a vendor and most likely vendoring all of it, but hopefully finding a few good items here and there. And the ones that we do find, I'm going to go over why they're decent and my justification for the prices I give them. The ones that are bad, I'll also try and justify why they're bad, at least for the first inventory or so worth, and then we'll speed up a bit and I'll just go over the good finds. The idea of the series is to teach people through example how to price check their own gear. Which is a skill that is very, very valuable to pretty much any player of this game who's not going down the soul itself found route, which is legit. That's what you want to play, but yes, not my wheelhouse. So we've got a decent amount of life in this belt and one resistance, a little bit of strength too. We are in a world where Stygian Vises exist, though, and also a world where the Tactician exists, which I think is an incredibly good belt that I don't see enough people using. But anyways, we're in a world where the Stygian Vise exists, so other belts kind of have to be judged up against that. The Stygian Vise Implicit is pretty much the best implicit in the game. I think one pretty good resistance roll and an okay amount of life does not really a very good belt make, but we're still early days in the league yet, so I'll throw this bad boy up for a chaos. Maybe the fact that it only requires level 48, somebody might pick it up so that they can use it to smooth out their leveling process a little bit. We'll see. That's certainly not going to fetch any amount of money, though, as stun duration and stun and block recovery are not very well sought after. 46 strength on an ES base could be nice, but again, Stygian Vises exist, and so that pushes down all other belt bases that aren't those, and 12 ES is very, very low. 96 life, the only really good thing about this belt. We've got some crit multi and a decent amount of flat fizz that catches my eye immediately. However, while the dex could be useful, there's no life and no resistances, so I think this is just vendor food. However, it was close. A good life roll could have made that sellable, even just a mediocre one. And there's no space for a crafted one. This has 6 mods, so 3 prefixes, 3 suffixes. 35 life, 48 strength, so an okay amount of life altogether. You could maybe justify crafting a res on that in the first few days of the league and trying to sell it, mainly because the high strength could be a real problem solver for some people, and it does have a res implicit, so it'll come with a bit of res basically no matter what, but 35 life is just too low. Sadly, pretty much nothing worth noting here. We've got no attack speed, no flat damage. Those are things you might look for on gloves. No accuracy, another one. Less important than the first two I listed, though. Life and resists on basically any piece of gear are going to always be a core part of the item. And that's about it, really. Maybe strength could be nice, but most builds using spiked gloves are doing pretty well for strength. 58 life, but nothing else really good there aside from maybe the flask duration, some cast speed, and some life. Sadly, garbage other rolls. Could have been good. Could have been good. Didn't make it, though. 73 mana, some cold resistance. A very themed ring. It's got a lot of cold going on. Maybe with a life roll, some Mind Over Matter build could use this. 73 mana is really high. That is the top end of Tier 2. It's a very good cold res roll. And it's got a cold res implicit, so maybe there's a Mind Over Matter build out there that's okay with taking a hit in the life department. Probably not. The cold damage could be useful. I think that's T1, actually. No, it's Tier 3. I think that's incorrect. I think T1 is in the 20%-ish roll on rings, but I might be wrong on that, because the overlaid thing there is still inaccurate from a few leagues back, or from last league, rather. I'm tempted to try and list this, but I don't think it would be worth crafting the life on myself, given that it costs a few chaos to do so, and I'm not really confident in the sale, and I don't think it'll come up in searches without a life roll. I'll put it up for a chaos for a day, see if it does sell, but I'm pretty doubtful that it will. 46 life is the only thing of note there. Maybe a bit of accuracy, plus 1 ES, oh boy! Some cast speed can be valuable, but only under the right circumstances. 3 life, goodbye. 9 life, goodbye. No movement speed, bad life, bad resistances, 58 life. And as I said, we're going to start going a little bit faster as we pick up speed through the items, and I've just want to avoid repeating myself too much. Please ignore the whoops. I have live searches going on. 80 maximum life. Nothing else really of note. Rare body armors need to be pretty darn good to sell because of how many good unique body armors there are, especially if the rare body armor you're trying to sell is unlinked, as links are incredibly valuable. No movement speed, the only real thing this has going for it is an okay life roll. This basically has nothing going for it. I see 2 attack speed rolls and crit chance, and I see maybe a usable jewel. Not amazing, certainly not very good. It's missing percent life, it doesn't have multi, it doesn't have any percent damage rolls, but attack speed is pretty highly valued, and 9% on 1 jewel isn't that bad. It's actually pretty good. Crit chance, I would have loved to see that be multi, as I said, but we'll go ahead and list that maybe for 2 or 3 chaos, I think. Trap damage, attack speed, not very synergistic. And cast speed if you dealt a crit is kind of nice for some builds, but the rest of that is just junk. What eye level is this? 71. Alright, so it won't sell by dint of the base. Go ahead and toss away the little bits and pieces and list what I said I would. So we're just going to throw these fairly junky ones up. I guess I didn't see this, but it's actually not that bad. 72 life is pretty high for a ring. It's got a lot of dex on one ring. That's 59 dex, and then, you know, a little bit of other all attributes. Does that have room for a crafted res roll? It does not. It is full up on suffixes. Yeah, attribute rolls are suffixes on rings. Somehow I always forget that. So it's pretty garbage in the res department, that's for sure. The 8 cold res roll, if that had like another 20 attached to it, this would be worth a good amount. As it stands, I think mainly because of the stats and life combination, I'm going to go ahead and list this for 5. And this jewel will start at 2. I ran a lot of its series, as you can see. Alright, let's keep going. And just in case we don't find anything too interesting, I did set aside an opal ring that I threw an essence at that I needed to price. Figured you guys might want to see that.
How are you?
Pardon. Long stream today, lost my voice a bit, but hopefully it doesn't give out on me entirely. As the league goes on, I'm going to start picking up fewer and fewer bases. You may have already noticed that from last episode. Likely not going to see too many more chess pieces, just in general, or shields for that matter. As both of these are pretty junk. Ooh, why didn't you have a good life roll? God dang it, Hate Noose. Why didn't you have a good life roll? That's so sad. I don't think that crafted life would be quite worth it. But maybe. We'll go ahead and check and see whether or not it would. Got some flat fizz. Always keep an eye out for flat fizz to attacks rolls. Also, eye level 78 is decently high. Might just sell by the base. It would have a few days ago. I don't know if it still will. Things like that, just bases for various things, will often drop in price very quickly. 72 life, tri-res. This is a promising looking chest piece, but honestly I still think that this is basically valueless because things like Belly of the Beast, things like Kintsugi, things like Perfect Form, things like... Good God, I could go on for a dozen different chess pieces. There's so many good unique chess pieces now. In Pulsas, Carcass Jack, there's so many good unique chess piece options that just a vanilla life and res chest piece is never really going to be worth anything unless it's linked or unless it's really well rolled. So I honestly shouldn't be picking these up. Just some garbage stats. 9 life, a lot of res, and some flat fizz, and some strength. I wish that didn't have a life roll on it. God damn it. If that even just didn't have a life roll on it, I could craft a good res roll and it'd be worth something, or a good life roll, and it'd be worth something. With 9 life, though, I don't know if I can sell that. Hell, we'll put it up for a chaos. Try and salvage something from this train wreck of a ring. God damn it. Makes me sad. Okay. Rest of this is pretty junk. So we got some crit multi, we got some attack speed with bows. Crit multi with cold skills could work for ice shot. Attack speed with bows, decent. So we got crit multi, attack speed, and maybe some strength to fill out stats. We'll put this up for a few chaos. 35 ES? No. 71 life, nothing else. +1 stock of minion gems sort of catches my attention. The rest is pretty junk though, and usually you want that on a ES helmet base. I see 49 life, some decent accuracy. It's got a res implicit. I mean, hell, maybe a chaos or two. Being very generous with the listing on these items because it doesn't really hurt me to list like a 1 item slot piece of gear. It doesn't take up very much inventory space in my stash, and I've had worse things than that sell, that's for sure. Not things that bad though, or this bad. These are both just garbage. cast speed, some ES, nothing else of note. Attack speed with staves and 200 melee weapons. So we do have double attack speed, but it's with staves, so we'll get rid of that. And we got a prismatic ring out of it. Yay! What do we got? Garbage. No life. No damage stats. Bad resist. Alright, so I'll throw all this in here. Like I said, I wanted to check and see whether or not crafting life in that amulet would be worth it. I pretty sincerely doubt it, because it doesn't have a damage roll. But an Onyx base is the best base, and it has really good resistance. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to specify the base here. We're going to look for total elemental resistance. How much did this have total? 87 over just 2 rolls, though. So 80. And I don't think the fact that it's specifically Dex is too relevant, but the fact that there's a stat there is relevant. So we're going to do this. Though Strength would be better because it would lend it some more life. So maybe I should keep Strength out of this, but I don't think it's going to dilute my search too much to do this. So we're going to be looking for an amulet with 1 of these. So we're going to count 1. And 80 total res. But I should actually do this and specify life, not life. Would this, so not life with a minimum of 25? So that would look for life rolls under 25, potentially? We can just leave the not out, it's fine, I can eyeball that. So this is 16 life. It's got room for flat fizz though. It's only been up for 10 minutes, might not be too accurate. This one's got a damage mod. This one's got a damage mod. The thing I'm seeing here that's different from ours, that's a pretty unifying factor, is that these all have damage mods. This one doesn't. But it's got a good ES roll, so this is really good for an ES build, potentially. That one's got a really good flat fizz. So yeah, we're missing a damage mod. I think we could maybe craft a life roll onto this and list it for like 5C. But the life roll craft is 4 chaos, and if it doesn't sell, I've just lost money. So what instead I'm going to do is give it the chance to sell at like 3. And if someone else wants to buy it and put a life roll on it, they are more than welcome to. Oh yes, and I wanted to check whether or not this base has any worth. So it's a Murderous Eye, that is eye level 78. Just sort of to get a feel for how far these have dropped. I sold a few of them on day 2 and 3. A few alks still, so we can just put that up for a chaos. Perhaps it sells. And I think the other stuff I already had a ballpark price on. Oh god, poor thing. This poor ring. I'm gonna keep that till I get an annulment orb. I'm gonna just keep that until I get an annulment orb. It goes in my hold tab. Which probably doesn't need to be a quad tab, there's not that much in there. Alright, these were both just 1 chaos grab bag. Actually, this one's probably going to start at like 3 and then lower over a day or 2. Alright, rest of the tab, let's do it, let's get this done.
Need a map?
Not that I'm excited to get out of here, I love you guys. I love you guys. Don't worry. I'm happy to be here. +2 Dominion gems, no life though. 70 life. I don't know, maybe a chaos. Doubt it though. Belt market is really depressed by Stygian Vices. And that's got hybrid life? No, it doesn't. If that had hybrid life, maybe I could have crafted a regular flat life roll onto it and sold it for something. Basically, when I say maybe 1C on something, it means it's vendor food, but someone might want it. And might be willing to give me more than the vendor would. But usually I just end up vendoring it. Just FYI. Alright, so this is the Opal Ring. I threw a Essence at this, that gave it a fire damage roll. I like how it's called an Of the Essence roll. I'm sure they're all called that. It hit a decent life roll. Sadly, actually, it hit that all res roll, because I would have loved to have that open suffix to craft a res on, and it hit some strength. So I'm thinking this is okay for some sort of RF build that might want that % fire damage, or maybe Scorching Ray, or maybe even a Brutus Lead Sprinkler that can get away with having a 26 strength roll, because 26 isn't very good on a ring slot, but it is a strength roll. And then all that % LE and % fire will be rather nice. So there is definitely a market out there for this ring, I think. I don't think it's amazing, though. But this early in the league, we might be able to get a decent sale out of it, so... Fire damage. Percent fire damage. There you are. On an opal ring, we already have that chosen up there. And then life, let's go with just... With the strength, it does reach over 60 life. So let's just do that. Over 60 life, some percent fire damage on an opal ring. What is that worth? And we're looking at a decent starting point. This has higher strength than mine. Some flat fire into attacks as well. That actually looks like a pretty darn good deal at 20C, considering how quickly it jumps up. This does have int, but, you know, that strength roll is really nice for a Brutus Light Sprinkler. I wouldn't be surprised if this gets snapped up. Pardon. That seems a bit overzealous for 49 Chaos. But honestly, if this is some of our competition, we've got, you know, better life, but worse percent fire damage, and okay strength, just similar to ours, 2 points less than ours. If this is some of our competition, I feel comfortable listing this at like 50-ish chaos to start with, and then maybe lowering it over the next few days. So a pretty lucky hit on the essence. Happy to see that. We're going to go ahead and get it listed. All right, well, that's going to be about it for me today. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, then feel free to subscribe to the channel here, or click it down through the description below and follow the Twitch channel, where I do stream daily for 7 to 8 hours a day most days. You can come and see me collect all the junk that I price check here. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.